and appropriate it to his own use, only succeeded in making everything somebody else's property and reducing its possessions to a fraction of its previously unlimited wealth. Avarice brought in poverty by coveting a lot of possessions, losing all that it had. This is why, although it may endeavour to make good its losses, may acquire estate after estate by buying out or forcing out its neighbours, enlarge country properties to the dimensions of whole provinces, speak of owning some property when it can go on a long tour overseas without once stepping off its own land, there is no extension of our boundaries that can bring us back to our starting point. When we have done everything within our power, we shall possess a great deal, but we once possessed the world. The earth herself, untilled, was more productive, her yields being more than ample for the needs of peoples who did not raid each other. With any of nature's products, men found as much pleasure in showing others what they had discovered as they did in discovering it. No one could outdo or be outdone by any other. All was equally divided among people living in complete harmony. The stronger had not yet started laying hands on the weaker. The avaricious person had not yet started hiding things away to be hoarded for his own private use, so shutting the next man off from actual necessities of life. Each cared as much about the other as about himself. Weapons were unused. Hands still unstained with human blood had directed their hostility exclusively against wild beasts. Protected from the sun in some thick wood, living in some very ordinary shelter under a covering of leaves, preserving them from the rigours of winter or the rain, those people passed tranquil nights, with never a sigh. We, in our crimson luxury, toss and turn with worry, stabbed by needling cares. What soft sleep the hard earth gave those people. They had no carved or panelled ceilings hanging over them. They lay out in the open, with the stars slipping past above them, and the firmament silently conveying onward that mighty work of creation as it was carried headlong below the horizon in the magnificent pageant of the night sky. And they had clear views by day as well as by night of this loveliest of mansions, enjoying the pleasure of watching constellations falling away from the zenith and others rising again from out of sight beneath the horizon. Surely it was a joy to roam the earth with marvels scattered so widely around one. You now, by contrast, go pale at every noise your houses make, and if there is a creaking sound, you run away among your frescoed passages in alarm. Those people had no mansions on the scale of towns. Fresh air and the untrammeled breezes of the open spaces, the unoppressive shade of a tree or rock, springs of crystal clarity, streams which chose their own course, streams unsullied by the work of man, by pipes or any other interference with their natural channels, meadows whose beauty owed nothing to man's art. That was the environment around their dwelling places in the countryside, dwelling places given a simple countryman's finish. This was a home in conformity with nature, a home in which one enjoyed living, and which occasioned neither fear of it nor fears for it. Whereas nowadays, our own homes count for a large part of our feeling of insecurity. But however wonderful and guileless the life they led, they were not wise men. This is a title that has come to be reserved for the highest of all achievements. All the same, I should be the last to deny that they were men of exalted spirit, only one step removed, so to speak, from the gods. There can be no doubt that before this earth was worn out, it produced a better type of offspring. But though they all possessed a character more robust than that of today, and one with a greater aptitude for hard work, it is equally true that their personalities fell short of genuine perfection. For nature does not give a man virtue. The process of becoming a good man is an art. Certainly, they did not go in search of gold or silver, or the various crystalline stones to be found in the nethermost dregs of the earth. They were still merciful, even to dumb animals. Man was far and away from killing man, not out of fear or provocation, but simply for entertainment. They had yet to wear embroidered clothing and had yet to have gold woven into robes or even mine it. But the fact remains that their innocence was due to ignorance and nothing else. And there is a world of difference between, on the one hand, choosing not to do what is wrong, and on the other, not knowing how to do it in the first place. They lacked the cardinal virtues of justice, moral insight, self-control, and courage. There were corresponding qualities, in each case not unlike these, that had a place in their primitive lives. But virtue only comes to a character which has been thoroughly schooled and trained, and brought to a pitch of perfection by unremitting practice. We are born for it, but not with it. And even in the best of people, until you cultivate it, there is only the material for virtue, not virtue itself. Letter number 91. My friend Liberalis is in some distress at the present moment, following the news of the complete destruction of Lyon by fire. It is a disaster by which anyone might be shaken, let alone a person quite devoted to his hometown. This event has left him groping for that staunchness of spirit, which, naturally enough, he cultivated when it was a case of facing what to him were conceivable fears. One is not surprised, though, that there were never any advance fears of such an unexpected, virtually unheard-of catastrophe, considering that there was no precedent for it. Plenty of cities have suffered damage by fire, but none has ever been blotted out by one. Even when its buildings have been set aflame by enemy hands, in many places the flames die out, and even if they are continually rekindled, they are seldom so all-consuming as to leave nothing for tools to demolish. Earthquakes, too, have hardly ever been so ruinous and violent as to raze whole towns. There has never, in fact, been a fire so destructive as to leave nothing for a future fire to consume. But here, a single night has laid low a host of architectural splendors, any one of which might have been the glory of a separate city. In the depth of peace, there has come such a blow as could not have been dreaded in war itself. Who would believe it? At a time when military conflict is in abeyance everywhere, when an international peace covers all parts of the globe, Lyon, the showpiece of Gaul, is lost to view. Fortune invariably allows those whom she strikes down in the sight of all a chance to fear what they were going to suffer. The fall of anything great generally takes time. But here, a single night is all there was between a mighty city and no city at all. It was destroyed, in fact, in less time than I have taken telling you of its destruction. Sturdy and resolute though he is when it comes to facing his own troubles, our Liberalis has been deeply shocked by the whole thing, and he has some reason to be shaken. What is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect, and unexpectedness adds to the weight of a disaster. The fact that it was unforeseen has never failed to intensify a person's grief. This is a reason for ensuring that nothing ever takes us by surprise. We should project our thoughts ahead of us at every turn and have in mind every possible eventuality instead of only the usual course of events. For what is there that fortune does not, when she pleases, fell at the height of its powers? What is there that is not the more assailed and buffeted by her, the more lustrous its attraction? What is there that is troublesome or difficult for her? Her assaults do not always come along a single path, or even a well-recognized path. At one time she will call in the aid of her own hands in attacking us. At another, she will be content with her own powers in devising for us dangers for which no one is responsible. No moment is exempt. In the midst of pleasures there are found the springs of suffering. In the middle of peace, war rears its head, and the bulwarks of one's security are transformed into sources of alarm, friend turning foe, and ally turning enemy. The summer's calm is upset by sudden storms more severe than those of winter. In the absence of